Kayode Ogundamisi was imprisoned under a previous military government in Nigeria. He is a pro-democracy campaigner and a civil rights activist, and he joins us now in the studio. Thanks very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you.
Now, you heard the Archbishop saying one of the reasons why Boko Haram find it so easy to recruit people is because if you've got no job. I mean, there's 60% poverty in Nigeria. You suffered very, highly for, as a pro-democracy campaigner. Do you think your suffering was worth it when you look at the Nigeria of today?
Yeah, it's actually worth it because in the sense that we still have hope. We can only hope for Nigeria, and we have new generations of young people coming out to say we can only hope for a better Nigeria. But if you look at the reality on the ground, you despair. You just wonder whether it was worth really doing what we did today, in the sense that we don't have the kind of democracy we dreamt about many years ago. I don't share in the optimism of the Archbishop, unfortunately, because the reality on the ground is that Boko Haram is now a franchise. You can't just zero it down to Boko Haram. There are people within the country who would carry out attacks and then claim to be acting on behalf of Boko Haram. Boko Haram we've got political Boko Haram, economic Boko Haram, and of course religious Boko Haram. So there are different segments, unfortunately, to this crisis in Nigeria.
Now, let's face it, General Buhari, who you've been following those primaries and so on, who's just been elected as the candidate for the APC, came to power through the barrel of a gun, the very thing that people like you dreaded and fought against for a very long time. And he gained a reputation as a head of state who was very hardline, undemocratic and fundamentalist. I mean, he's also been out of power for the last 30 years. I mean, he's never held any sort of political office in a democratic dispensation. Under such circumstances, you still, because I remember talking to you earlier, give him your support. I mean, how can he have what it takes to bring Nigeria back to the right path of rectitude, if you like?
Yes, it is true that he was a military head of state, and as a matter of fact, when he was a military leader, he introduced the war against corruption and indiscipline in the country. And it is quite true that under that regime, there were lots of human rights violations. Yeah, but he has contested election under a democratic setting 3 times in Nigeria. He has resorted to the rule of law by going all the way to the Supreme Court to actualize his dreams. And that is a clear path to the fact that he can have a change of heart. And aside from that, there has never been any allegations of violations when he's been out of power. There have been even panels conducted by this current administration, and he has never been indicted. And even the current president, labeled Buhari as one of the most honest and courageous Nigerians alive. So in that, we have hope. And the situation in Nigeria is that we need a strong man who will enable our institutions to work. We need somebody who is going to encourage Nigerians in diaspora to go home knowing fully well that you have a leader who is transparent, because our perception index internationally is 0. People hear about a Nigerian and they think immediately about corruption. And the current administration are doing a bit to help Nigeria, but they're not doing enough. And it's time to have a change. If he's contesting under a democratic system, under a rule of law, Democrats must support him. And let's be clear about this. Nobody should be deprived the candidacy or the dreams to lead their country because they've got military backgrounds.
Who do you think he should choose as his running mate?
I would say that, look, Nigeria at this point in time should go for a technocrat who is capable of delivering the goods for our people, that it should not matter whatever religions they come from. And one of the leading light in Nigeria today is the former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola. If I were Buhari, I would go for broke, and it's left for the Nigerian people to decide. If Nigerian people still want to go about religious, Christian, Muslim, then so be it. But for now, the most important candidate, in my opinion, is Babatunde Fashola of Lagos State.
Okay, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.